Okay, I'm back again. All right, on to the customer focused services sheet. And this is where I'm going to have a lot more to say. I'm going to start it off by saying that in general, I think we have phenomenal customer service. There's just a few points at which I think we can clarify some things and I'll be on the same page and probably do even better. Let me just kind of quickly go down through this. So the first one says to be friendly. And I try to make this where it's easy to see them by using my red letters and my all caps. But if you think about that, the first one is friendliness. I mean, it goes a long way. Even people, if you have someone who's very gracious to you, you tend to forgive a lot of things. And so I hope to see smiles. I hope to hear hellos. The cashier, honestly, you're up there. You're the first entrance. Obviously, you don't have to say hello to somebody if you're checking someone out. But if you're just standing there, it's kind of the height of awkward if they have to walk by you and you didn't say good afternoon or hello or welcome. Was it Madeline Kent used to say welcome in? And then when they come back to your area, so if they come to the slicer or they come to the bakery case, I certainly would expect to say hi, can I help you? Or hello, can I help you? Is something rather than just waiting for them to talk. So we want them to feel like we're there and we're eager to serve them and we're not bothered. Now I get sometimes not everybody's feeling good or not everybody's having a great day. So this might take monumental acting on your part, but it's just something we're going to have to really aspire to do, and that is be very friendly. The second one is to give personal attention. Now, I gave you some examples, and these are things that I believe take customer service and they put it just a step above. If you know people's names, I would use them. Use them if you know them. So, Mr. Ron comes in every single Thursday because he's in Atmore to buy his lottery tickets, and everybody knows what he buys. 4 pretzels in 4 different bags, and whatever. Everything he buys, he always wants in different bags, and then he gets something in jars, pickles maybe. You guys probably even know better than I do. But his name is Mr. Ron. And so I try to always say, hey, Mr. Ron. And I even know that he buys lottery tickets. So every now and then I'll say, you want any money lately or something, just to, because I know that about him. So then the second point is refer to a known order if it's a frequent customer. So in this same example, it would be, you want these in individual bags again, or I'm going to assume individual bags again. We already know that about him. Another person that you know a known order for, you guys call him, his name is Tim Grable, you call him Swiss Cheese Man. You know his order. And so if he calls and he says his name and he starts saying it and you say, yes, sir, we'll do it like we did last time. Or if you happen to see him and recognize him, when he walks in the door, you might be able to say, hi, you're here for your cheese, or whatever, if that makes any sense. It just lets them know that we are a small enough place that we are able. I don't know about you guys, but I remember a lot of things about customers. And years ago, we had, I don't know if Phyllis and Kathy may remember, Juanita used to come in every single Friday for strawberry rolls. And then she quit for a while because she was gaining too much weight. I just saw her not long ago too, by the way. So that's just kind of a way that I think you can kind of take it a step above. If you're not sure, then you don't have to use somebody's name, but many of you, if you know it, you might as well use it. I also think that it's good for your brain. Honestly, this is a side note, but I think it's good for your brain. To me, if I want to remember someone's name, then I say it a lot. All right, so not I say it a lot. I mean, when I see them, I say their name to help my brain make that association. All right, so the third one on there, once you start helping a customer, finish helping them, even if you have to ask for help for other customers. So this is one area that I do hear. I hear this happening sometimes. I wish my office wasn't there. For those of you that think all I do is listen for you, it doesn't matter. I get distracted. Even when I'm not trying to listen, I hear. And so I would just point that out, that I'm not I'm not sitting in there listening for who does what wrong. I just hear a lot in there. When you start helping a customer though, so if you took their order and you were not aggressively taking everyone's order at the deli. So if you were, we'll take the deli slicer. So if someone comes up and you got 5 people standing there, and you go through and you say, let me take, does anybody else need their order? And you're taking orders and you haven't started slicing anything yet. That's okay. But if you took somebody's order, person number one's order, and you were already slicing their food, please don't stop slicing their food to take person number two's order, because they're standing there feeling like you just walked away from them. And so what I would rather you do in that case is I would rather you call for whoever your backup person is. 9 days out of 10, there's someone back there packing that is able to be a slicer. And if they aren't able to be a slicer, there are, I don't know about everybody, but I think just about everybody can take a deli order. And so therefore you can say, at the very least, you can look at the other customers that are coming as you're slicing and say, I'll be right with y'all, and finish with that customer. So I think that's one thing I hear happening pretty often. The same thing with going over to get things from the deli case. I would rather hear you calling for help from the back, and that person from the back will stay more attuned to you if you call for them more often. Some of us want to be heroes and say, oh, we never needed any help, but we do need help. It's not because you aren't able to get them all, it's because you aren't able to get them all and stick with the customer you were helping with, if that makes sense. All right, so, and then the fourth bullet on number 2 is give the customer you're working with your full attention. I'm bad about this. This is something I'm working on. So if I have my own personal goals, this is one, and that is cashiers. You would be a prime example of this. Whoever's standing in front of you that you're checking out, that's who you're working with. It doesn't matter who's next in line. It doesn't matter who's sitting there on the bench. That's a person. And I honestly, while someone's putting their money in and all that stuff, if they haven't moved away, don't start with the next customer, because it has a very awkward feel to it, and it looks like we're shoveling out, which is a complaint I've gotten, that we're just shoving people out. If you have to open the second register because it's busy and someone happens to feel like you're rushing them out, I think it's worth your time and effort to let them know that we know that some people have a short lunch break, and so we're just trying to make sure the line goes as quickly as possible on their behalf. That it's not that we're trying to rush any customer through. They can take as long as they want if they're the only people there. So, all right, so that's number 1 and number 2. Again, write down notes if you have. If you have questions, you can ask me questions. I don't mind at all. All right, so number 3 is being prompt. All right, so be quick to open that second register. We don't want it to get too long. I mean, a lot of times, you may think, oh, I'm in the middle of something. I don't want to run up and open that second register. I mean, at the most of the time, you won't have to check out more than 2 people until that line's gone. You're simply just giving a little bit of a boost to the other cashier. And it's not even the other cashier. It's just, if you can take 1 or 2 people out of line and get them to the other side, then that other line kind of heals itself, and you'll be back to what you were doing in just minutes. So don't wait too long for that to happen. I'd say 2 or 3. I'd say if there's 3 people in line, if they're standing back close to the salad bar, it's time to open the register, simply because the store's not that huge, and we really would rather not have the store full of people standing in line. The other thing I will tell you is I really want that reputation that people can stop there and quickly run and get their thing and quickly leave, that we're going to do everything we can to make sure that they can move along, because that is a lot of our customers are doing that. The second thing, I would keep some bakery items boxed for self-service. Now, by and large, this is always done. I'm just pointing out to you that this is part of what we're doing so that our customers can get in and out quickly, especially our customers who are confident in what they want and they've been there a lot. If they see the cinnamon roll on top, they can just grab it and go. They can just grab the dinner rolls and go. So that's kind of a point at why we do that. That's not something, I think everybody does that. All right, so call in deli orders. If someone calls in a deli order, it needs to get put in line with the store people. So don't rely on the time the customer says. If they called to pre-order, they don't want to or don't have time to wait. So if you have 5 customers in the store and you get a call-in order, unless that call-in order says something as drastic as I'm coming after work, and it's going to be hours. If they say I'm on my way, I'm coming in 10 minutes, you have to put them in line right then and there as if they were standing there. And so you don't, your in-store customers don't even have to know that you have another one in line, because what you're telling them is, I have a few customers in line and I'm going to get to yours, and it'll be a few minutes and I'll be right to yours. So make sure that we're doing that, because I have unfortunately a few times recently overheard, I'm here to pick up my order. Oh, I don't have it done yet. Well, you gave them that's not at all what they want to hear. And so I think that we're going to lose those customers if we aren't able to pretty consistently deliver on that. If you can't get to that, then you have to call for your backup helper. You have to, whoever it may be. Honestly, most days there's a person that's there from 9 to 5. I know you guys think Phyllis isn't a slicer. You do know Phyllis can put meat and cheese in a bag and put the tag on it. Like, she can get your stuff out for you. She can be taking orders. There are lots of things that Phyllis can do as a 9 to 5 person who's not a slicer to help you. There are lots of things that Brooklyn and Ava can do if you're swarmed at the front, if nobody's ready to register and there's a long line at the deli. So you just have to keep in mind, you got to be quick, and to move back to your area, though, if you come from another area, to help in that kind of scenario. All right, so that leads me to the last bullet under being prompt, and that's help any customer in any area or get help regardless of what other jobs you're doing. So if you're the slicer and you happen to see somebody at the register and there is no one there, do not call for the register person. Just go up and quickly do them yourself. It will be faster. It will look less problematic. As long as you check that one person out and quickly come back. Now, what happens, register person, if you were gone and you come back and you find that the slicer had to fill in for you, then you got to go, and someone's standing at the deli, you better hoof it back there and help them out too. Maybe that means getting out a wrap for somebody. Maybe that means go ahead and starting taking someone's order. Even if you're not the slicer, you can write it down. So be very, very aware of customers. I don't want anybody having to wait longer than just normal wait times. Okay, because there's nothing more frustrating than being in an empty store and having to wait. It just, I don't like it. I don't think you guys like it either. Hopefully everybody knows what I'm talking about. All right, be accommodating, number 4, and that is basically all under this one statement. Bend over backwards to say yes whenever you can. Years ago, I think it was in a parenting class or something, I've always remembered that phrase that says, say yes whenever possible. And I think about that you don't want to just constantly be told no. I know that we prefer to have people order deli with some advance notice. The truth is, deli requires no preparation, no baking, in other words. 9 times out of 10, if you call in your help from the back, you can do a deli tray. So be quick to try your very, very best to say yes. I don't care if you ask them to, what's the latest you could pick it up? Since I don't have much notice, that gives me a little bit more time to do it. Those are plenty acceptable questions, and people expect that because they know they're calling last minute. But try your very, very best to say yes. We have the guidelines, but see if you can bend them. If you can, to meet the need of a customer. And if you can't, then try something different. So let's say that they came in last minute, Jerry Gaiman, and wanted a meal deal. And the last time that happened, we were able to make him cookies because we were making cookies. But if we hadn't been, that's when I would probably say, can we get a box of the fudge cookies? Can we get some of something else that's in the store to use in its place? Even if you have to say, hey, this isn't ideal, but I'm going to make this a $5 meal deal or a $5.25 meal deal, and we're not going to use the cookies, but I'm going to sell you a couple boxes of cookies. Do what you can to try to accommodate that person so that they don't walk away with nothing, because they came there because they were needing something and because they expected that we might be the only place that could do it on the spur of the moment. So if you think through what's available in Atmore, and many of you have heard me say this, if you go to Walmart, if you go to Ramey's, you're not likely to have a lot of excitement about Walmart doesn't do anything, but about doing something. If you just found out someone died and you want to take food, or if you didn't realize it was your turn to take food, which I don't think that's Jerry Gaiman's fault, but problem. But if for some reason you didn't realize that you were supposed to take the food or you forgot to order it, they're coming to us because they're expecting that we might be able to do it. Sorry, I almost dropped my water. That would have been funny. So yeah, so do that and just do your best to try. Also, number 5 is offer more. Okay, so I used to. You're gonna first of all, I want you to quickly check for extra product in the back. You know, if you're not sure, say I'll be happy to check in the back to see if we have that. You know, sometimes you might be able to say, I just checked that for a customer earlier today. I know we don't have any. I'm so sorry. Or we're going to have it on the next truck. I've already checked earlier. But try to offer that. Another thing that I used to hear all the time, and I'm going to give kudos, I believe it is Lauren I recently heard doing it, but that was offering deli samples. I was about to say I almost never heard it anymore, and then Lauren went and blew that theory, and I heard her offer to let somebody taste something. It is not that hard to rewrap something. So make sure that if someone's inquiring about, like, what does that cheese taste like? I really would rather than hear you describe it, I would rather you say, would you like to taste it? Because that is the way to get people to buy it. So I wish I had statistics for it. Back when we first opened the store, we let people taste Lebanon bologna and sweet Lebanon bologna all the time because they didn't know what it tasted like. And they'd say, this is good. I want a half a pound, when they weren't intending to buy it at all. So make sure that deli samples, especially, I mean, people will guide you on what they want the sample to be. Just don't try to describe as much as say, would you like to taste it? I think you'll be surprised at how much that sells. When you get something out for a taste, like for a cheese, guys, you can keep using that same wrap over and over again, at least for sure on the same day. So it's not as big of a deal to get off a little slice here and there as what it may seem like. All right, and then number 5 is to be visible. So this is the point at which I'm feeling like I may get a little bit of pushback, but this is something that is going to have to be probably one of the more important things of this whole video. So I'm going to stop at this point on the video, and then I'm going to restart another one and finish